Hey guys, it's Ricardo here with Gathering Magic, and I'm here to open a box of Conspiracy. Let's go ahead and see what fun treasures we find inside. This is a moderately sized set, it's a little over 200 cards, and there is the possibility that you can open a pack with 3 rares, seeing as some packs have a Conspiracy, and then you have the foil, and then you have the the regular. So foil, regular Conspiracy, which is rare, a foil rare, and then a regular rare. So that's 3 right there. Each box comes with 36 packs. It's kind of neat how it divides like that, I guess. And the way that this is supposed to be drafted is you draft at a normal 8-man pod, and then afterwards you split into 2 4-man pods, and you play a multiplayer game of Magic. Now the thing is with Conspiracy is after you get done with that, then the top 2 from each one of those pods goes ahead and goes on to the finals, and you play a game there. And the top 2 can either fight it out, or they can play, or they can split rather, for the packs. So let's go ahead and start the cracking fun. Let's see what's in these packs. I'm going to go ahead and go briefly over some of the new cards as I see them. So here we have Custody Squire. He has an ability, a new mechanic called Will of the Council. Will of the Council, as you can see, is whenever a creature enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player votes for something in particular. In this case, it's an artifact, a creature, or enchantment card in your graveyard. And then after that, you return each card with the most votes, or tied for the most votes, to your hand. In some cases, it's different, like you choose a certain word, and that word has some kind of consequence or action. So in this case, it is a 3/3 flyer that does exactly what I said a second ago, and it's cost 4 and a white. We just have some vanilla creatures, some enchantments, Island Cycling, they're bringing that back, Torch Fiend's a reprint, Echoing Courage, Necromantic Thirst, Elvish Aberration, Siphon Soul, Stasis Cell, Volcanic Fallout. I really like this card, and seeing as it's a multiplayer format, I really think it's a good pick because it cannot be countered and deals 2 damage to each creature and player. So sometimes that might even be the last 2 points to knock a player out, and it's instant speed, so that's something to be aware of. We have Spontaneous Combustion, costs 1 a black and a red. Additional cost to cast it, you sacrifice a creature and it deals 3 damage to each creature. Pretty sweet board wipe. It's sometimes a little better than Fallout. It's a little more difficult to casting as you need a black, and you need a creature that you'd want to sacrifice in the first place. So sometimes it's a good creature killer. We have Elephant Guide. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3, and whenever it dies, you put a 3/3 green elephant creature token onto the battlefield. Costs 2 and a green. And we have Magus of the Mirror. He is a 4/2 for 4 and double black. You can tap and sacrifice him and exchange life totals with a target opponent. And you can activate this ability only during your upkeep, so before you draw a card. And then we have a Conspiracy. And Conspiracies, how they work is, at the start of your game, you put the Conspiracy face down in the command zone, and you secretly name a card. The way that secretly name a card works is how anyway, I think everybody should do it, is you should write the card down at the start of the game on a sheet of paper, and put that sheet of paper face down to where everybody can see the paper, but not the card you named. And then you may turn this Conspiracy face up at any time and reveal the chosen name. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with the chosen name, you may draw a card. Then we have a Spirit Token. So that was our first pack. It was a pretty good review over it. I definitely like Magus of the Mirror, and I'm very happy that in the first pack I was able to show you what a Conspiracy is like. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I'm going to go a little quicker through them. I want to make sure that, you all kind of get excited, but at the same time you don't have to wait around here for 30 minutes looking at me having a whole bunch of fun opening these packs. So let's see. We got Pride Guardian, Enclave Elite, Stave Off, Pitchburn Devils, Skitter Lizards, Grudge Keeper. This guy's really neat. Whenever players finish voting, each opponent who voted for a choice you didn't vote for loses 2 life. I really like this guy. He's really, really cool flavor. Your Defiance is noted. Elvish Aberration. I said that wrong last time. Infectious Horror. We have a Respite. Valor Made Real. Marchesa's Infiltrator. There's a new ability, new mechanic called Dethrone. Whenever this creature attacks, the player with the most life, or tied for the most life, you put a 1/1 counter on it. So, with it being a multiplayer format, you have a lot of different targets to choose from most of the time, but if you're winning, then the Dethrone mechanic's pretty bad for you. And he is just, whenever Marchesa's Infiltrator deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. We have a Deathforge Shaman, Mirrodin's Core, a reprint. Rhea Dawnbringer. This is pretty sweet. 4/6 for 6 and triple white. Flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Hey, look, double rare. Poliano, the High City. Now, this is going to be a really cool card when you draft it, but I don't see anybody buying this by itself, because you can't play it in constructed formats for the reason that you reveal it as you draft it, and the player to your right chooses a color, and you choose another color. Then the player to your left chooses a third color. And then you can tap this to add 1 mana to your mana pool of any color chosen as you drafted cards named Poliano the High City. So if you're playing a multiplayer format, but you never drafted, this doesn't do anything. So there's that. I mean, you can put it in your deck if you want, but it's not going to do anything. And another Spirit. Now, one thing to note is that in packs of Conspiracy, you can get Conspiracy cards, and you can get this land card, and then there's one other that you can get, okay? And we're going to run into that, I'm sure, shortly. But those take the place of the land that's supposed to be in the pack. And you will see what I mean later. Because you can't get a Conspiracy, like you can't get Poliano and Iterative Analysis. You can't get them in the same pack. There's no way, because it takes up 1 slot in the pack. Alright. We got another Custody Squire, Turn the Tide, Lizard Warrior, Vent Sentinel, Flowstone Blade, Gnarled Pack, Unhallowed Pack, Alter Reap, Provoke, Tragic Slip, Marchesa Smuggler, not Snuggler, Smuggler, costs a blue and a red as Dethrone and is a 1/1. And you can pay 1 blue and a red. Target creature you control gains haste until the end of turn and cannot be blocked this turn. So it's pretty good if you decide that you want to build a Marchesa deck. I'm sure we'll run into at least one of her. It's a pretty sweet card. For 2, you know, getting a 1/1 with Dethrone's not bad, because if you keep on punching with this guy, you know, he's eventually going to be bigger than a 1/1. So, you know, not bad. You have the Infiltrator again, a Gamekeeper, Altar of Dementia. You pay 2 for this artifact, and you may sacrifice a creature whenever you'd like to have target player put a number of cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power from the top of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Advantageous Proclamation. This is a conspiracy that you start the game with. This conspiracy face up in the command zone instead of face down. And your minimum deck size is reduced by 5. So when you're drafting, instead of having a pre-constructed deck of 40 cards, you would have a deck constructed of 35 cards. So, but you have to have this. And it's not bad. A lot of people would use this advantageously to minimize their deck to make sure that they're more likely to hit the cards that they want to see. Then we have an Elephant Token. Turn the Tide, Orcish Cannonade, Brimstone Volley, Power of Fire, Unhallowed Pack, Echoing Courage, Provoke. This guy looks like Mike. He looks like the guy from Monster Inc. Tragic Slip, Memano Scrollkeeper, Fires of Yavimaya, Wakestone Gargoyle, Warmonger's Chariot, and Rout. With new art featuring Elish Norn. You may pay, for this it costs 3 and double white, and you may cast Rout anytime you can cast an instant for paying 2 more for it, and you destroy all creatures and they cannot be regenerated. We have a Foil Assassinate, and we have Immediate Action. There's a hidden agenda, so you start the game with this conspiracy face down in the command zone, and you secretly name a card, and then you may turn this conspiracy face up at any time and reveal the chosen name. Creatures you control with the chosen name have haste. And an Ogre token. And I will apologize in advance. I have a little bit of a cold. You'll hear me sniffle a little bit here and there. Alright. Good old Brainstorm. Doom Traveler. Trumpet Blast. Torch Fiend. Orcish Cannonade. Charging Rhino. Liliana's Spectre, Moment of Heroism, Hunger of the Howl Pack, Respite, Heckling Fiends, Galvanic Juggernaut, Vampire Hexmage, and a Spiritmonger. He costs 3, a black and a green, and whenever he deals damage to a creature, you may put a 1/1 counter on Spiritmonger. You can pay a black to regenerate him, and you can pay a green to make him become the color of your choice until the end of turn, and he is a 6/6. We have Sentinel Dispatch, which is just a regular conspiracy, so it doesn't start face down. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature token with Defender onto the battlefield. Alright, let's see what we got in this pack. We have a Noble Templar, Aether Tradewinds, Torch Fiend, Rapid Flame, Mana Geyser, Quag Vampires, Echoing Courage, Moment of Heroism, Mimano Squirrelkeeper, Siphon Soul, Breakthrough, Heckling Fiends, Mork Rut Banshee. Where do they come up with the names with some of these guys? Reign of the Pit is a new card. It costs 4, double black, and is a sorcery. Each player sacrifices a creature, then puts a XX black demon creature token with flying on the battlefield, where X is the total power of creatures sacrificed this way. So you get a pretty big dude most of the time when you cast this late game. Sometimes, though, it's kind of lackluster. Sometimes you're just really hammering your opponent, and the only person sacrificing your creature is you. But with a multiplayer draft format like this, it shouldn't be that bad. We have a Construct, which is the other type that you can get, and this takes place of a Conspiracy or the land card that you got, for instance, these two. So these are the 3 different types of cards that will fill up the land slot. So there's no way that you'd be able to get 2 Constructs or 2 lands or 2 Conspiracies in the same pack. This guy, as we saw in all the spoilers, he costs 4 and is a 3/3, and you draft him face up. As you draft a card, you may draft an additional card from that booster pack, and if you do, you put him back into the booster pack you drafted from. So this guy's really neat when you're drafting, because sometimes you just grab 2 of the things that you want instead of oh, this thing's, you open a pack, say you get this in your first pack, second pack, oh, this rare is really good, and there's a foil rare in here. All right, I'm going to take both. Or you see a Conspiracy in a rare, whatever. This guy's really, really good. I really like him. He's going to make drafts a lot more fun. And of course, there's a lot more other constructs, very similar to that guy, where you draft them face up and they do certain things. We'll run into those shortly, though. Very surprised it took this long to actually see one of the constructs. All right. We have a Courier Hawk, another Brainstorm, Apex Hawk, Skitter Lizards, Mana Geyser, Sporecap Spider, Wake Dancer, Altar's Reap, Valor Made Real, Nature's Claim with new art. Look at that. Flamerite, new creature. Costs red, white, and 1/1, and he's a 1/1. You can pay 1 and tap him to put a colorless 1/1 construct artifact creature token with Defender onto the battlefield. You could tap him and sacrifice a creature with Defender and make him deal 1 damage to target creature or player. Not bad. Unquestioned Authority, Lead the Stampede, Grenzo's Rebuttal. Grenzo is a new legendary creature that we will hopefully see here in Conspiracy in one of these packs. This is a sorcery for 4 and double red. You put a 4/4 red ogre creature token onto the battlefield. Starting with you, each player chooses an artifact, a creature, and a land from among the permanents controlled by the player to his or her left. Destroy each permanent chosen this way. So not bad. And then an immediate action, and this is a hidden agenda Conspiracy, so you start with the game with it face down, and creatures you control with the chosen name have haste. And then a construct. Constructs are pretty neat looking. I'm going to go ahead and stack up these rares because they're starting to take a little bit of space. I'm going to go ahead and place them right here. And I'm putting the Conspiracies and the constructs with them as well, so that way, I can review them a little later for you guys. This pack we have a Reckless Scholar, another Apex Hawk, Crookclaw Transmuter. He's a Flying Flash 3/1 with flying. He costs 3 and a blue, and when he enters the battlefield, switch target creature's power and toughness until the end of turn. It's a pretty neat combat trick. Flowstone Blade, Enraged Revolutionary. He is a 2/1 for 2 and a red, and he has Dethrone. Not bad. Plummet, Twisted Abomination, Altar's Reap, Provoke, Tragic Slip, Death Reap Ritual. Costs 2, a black and a green, and it's an enchantment that has Morbid. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, you may draw a card. Warmonger's Chariot, Peace Strider, Deathrender. It's a reprint, cost 4. It is an artifact equipment that gives the equipped creature +2/+2. And when the creature dies, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield and attach Deathrender to it. Pretty neat for, late game or even early game if you're able to manage to cheat this out really fast. You just keep a hand with tons of dudes. You just keep bashing with this guy. You'll get all those higher expensive dudes out and play for free. Pretty sweet. And then we have Brago's Favor. Brago is another legendary creature from this set. This is a conspiracy that has hidden agenda, so you start with the face down and you choose a card. Spells with the chosen name you cast cost 1 less to cast, so not bad. And then a squirrel token. Look at this guy. He is ready to fight. Very happy they're bringing back squirrels. Squirrels are... There's this guy at the old cool stuff that I knew, and he'd always bring in little beanie babies, and they're all squirrels for his squirrel deck. And whenever you'd attack, you just throw one. Very, very funny. We have a Johnny Sunstriker, Crit Claw Transmuter, Courier Hawk, Pitchburn Devils, Chartooth Cougar. He has Mountain Cycling, and for 1 red, you can effectively has Fire Breathing. He's a 4/4 for 5 and a red. Scaled Worm, Infectious Horror, Savella's Enforcer. Has a new mechanic. I'm surprised it took this long to also see. It is called Parlay. This guy is a 2/2 that costs 3 and a green. And when it enters the battlefield, each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, put a 1/1 counter on Savella's Enforcer, then each player draws a card. Now, all of the parlay abilities are when, thing enters battlefield or whenever you activate thing's ability, each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, do something, and then each player draws a card. It's typically how parlay works with most cards. We have Respite, Tyrant's Choice. The art on this is insane, if you guys haven't seen it. And it has Will of the Council, starting with you. Each player votes Death or Torture. If Death gets more votes, each opponent sacrifices a creature. If Torture gets more votes, or as the votes are tied, each opponent loses 4 life. It's not bad for 1 and a black. Split Decision, Will of the Council. Choose target instant or sorcery spell. Starting with you, each player votes for Denial or Duplication. If Denial gets more votes, counter the spell. If Duplication gets more votes, or the votes are tied, copy the spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. It costs 1 and a blue and it's an instant, so it's pretty sweet. We got Volcanic Fallout, Peace Strider, and Terastodon. This guy costs 6 and double green. He's a reprint from, I believe, Zendikar block. He is a 9/9 that whenever he enters the battlefield, you may destroy up to 3 target non-creature permanents. For each permanent put into the graveyard this way, its controller puts a 3/3 green elephant creature token onto the battlefield. Whispergear Sneak. He is a construct that costs 1, and he is a 1/1, and you draft him face up. During the draft, you may turn him face down, and if you do, you look at any unopened booster pack in the draft or any booster pack not being looked at by another player. So it makes the drafting a lot more interesting. It's a very sweet guy to draft. And then a Spirit Token. All right, so let's go ahead and continue here. We have a Traveler's Cloak. Brago's Representative. While voting, you get an additional vote. He is a 1/4 that costs 2 and white. An Enclave Elite. Skitter of Lizards. Power of Fire. Stronghold Discipline. Art on this card is also insane. And when you look at it, you're like, what? Is that just a whole bunch of blood? Read the flavor text. In Urborg, the instigators of each new rebellion are soaked in the blood of the last. Howling Wolf. Grudge Keeper, Guardian Zendikon, Moment of Heroism, Fact or Fiction, Quicksand, Selvalis Charge. Misdirection is the rare in this pack. It costs 3 and double blue. It is an instant, and you may exile a blue card from your hand rather than pay for Misdirection's mana cost. Change the target of a spell with a single target. This card's really, really good in Legacy, and I expect it to be drafted a lot, and it is a money card. So make sure if you see this in the draft and you're not thinking of winning, grab this guy. And then another immediate action. We have a Traveler's Cloak, Brago's Representative, Trumpet Blast, Screaming Seahawk, Savella's Enforcer, Typhoid Rats, Plummet, Moment of Heroism, Respite, Barbed Shocker, Squirrel's Nest, for all those squirrel fans out there, Plagued Rusaka, Ignition Team. It is a Goblin Warrior that costs 5 and double red. It enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of tapped lands on the battlefield. You may pay 2 and a red to remove a 1/1 counter from Ignition Team. Target land becomes a 4/4 red elemental creature until the end of turn, and it's still land. Foil Wrap in Flames. Let's go with this guy here. Foil Wrap in Flames. Secret of Paradise. It's a hidden agenda, and you choose a creature, you know, we put it face down. Creatures you control with the chosen name, when you flip this up, have add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Alrighty. These packs are a lot of fun to open because you never know what you're going to get in the back. And the fun part of the back of the pack is not so much the rare as it is the conspiracy or the construct that you get at the end. Even the land is ridiculous when you're drafting. We have a Johnny Sunstriker, a Plated Sea Strider, Pride Guardian, Flowstone Blade, Cinderwall, Quag Vampires, Echoing Courage, Tragic Slip, Core Chant, Sky Spirit, Predator's Howl, Bite of the Black Rose. Starting with you, each player votes for Sickness or Psychosis. If Sickness gets more votes, creatures your opponent control get -2/-2 until the end of the turn. If Psychosis gets the more votes or is tied for the most, each opponent discards 2 cards. Ill-Gotten Gains. 2 and double black is a reprint. Exile Ill-Gotten Gains. Each player discards his or her hand, then returns up to 3 cards from his or her graveyard to his or her hand. Pretty sweet. Foil Peace Strider. Cogwork Spy. He costs 3 and he's a 2/1 flyer, and you reveal it as you draft it. And you may look at the next card drafted from this booster pack. It's pretty neat. All right. We have a Dream Fracture, Doomed Traveler, Turn the Tide, Shoreline Ranger, Cinderwall, Sporecap Spider, Wake Dancer, Sakura Tribe Elder, Rusing the Souls, Rapid Vigor, Jetting Glasskite, Reckless Spite, Fire Shrieker, Custody Soulbinders. He costs 3 and a white, and he enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of other creatures on the battlefield. So if you play him by himself, he's not very good. But more than likely, because this is a multiplayer format, your opponent should have something. You can pay 2 a white and remove a 1/1 counter from him, and you may put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield. Not a bad rare. Muzio's Preparations. This is a hidden agenda, so you start the game with it face down, you reveal it at any time, and make sure that you name a card secretly. Each creature you control with the chosen name enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. All right. So we have here a Doomed Traveler, Aether Trade Winds, Stave Off, Shoreline Ranger, Torch Fiend, Sporecap Spider, Typhoid Rats, Sakura Tribe Elder, Mimano Scrollkeeper, Hunger of the Howl Pack, Uncontrollable Anger, Ruined Servitor. This is a construct, but it's not the drafting kind. Lead the Stampede, Bassandra Battle Seraph. This is a reprint, I believe, from one of the commander decks. Costs 3, a red and a white. It is a Flying Angel. That is a 4/4. Players can't cast spells during combat, so no combat tricks there. And for a multiplayer, this is actually pretty sweet because of that. And for 1 red, you can make a target creature attack this turn if able. Brago's Favor, which we already got one of these earlier. We have a Doom Traveler, Aether Trade Winds, Stave Off, Grenzo's Cutthroat. Grenzo, I think, is going to be a really sweet general. And what's funny is the way that they made the Goblin Rogue from, I want to say M13, Krenko. If you look at the art from Krenko's Command, you actually had 2 goblins in the back of Krenko's original art. And it's funny that they would do this again. So this is a 1/1 first striker with Dethrone. It costs 1 red. Charduth Cougar, Liliana Spectre, Sporecapped Spider, Quag Vampires, Hunger of the Howl Pack, Guardian Zendikon, Sky Spirit, Soul Catcher, Elephant Guide, Sulfuric Vortex. This is a Legacy Red Deck Wins card. Costs 2 red and 1. It's an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, it deals 2 damage to that player. If the player would gain life, that player instead gains no life. And a Lurking Automaton. It is a 5-drop artifact construct. You reveal it as you draft it, and you note how many cards you drafted this round, including Lurking Automaton. It enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the highest number of you noted for cards named Lurking Automaton. And a construct token. Alrighty. We're almost halfway done, guys and gals. Let's see what we got here hiding for us in this pack. Grixis Illusionist. That's funny that I said hiding. Illusionist. Ha ha ha. Stave Off. Turn the Tide. Grenzo's Cutthroat. Screaming Seahawk. Howling Wolf. Necromantic Thirst. Scaled Worm. Guardian Zendikon. Compulsive Research. Soul Catcher. Wood Sage. This is a reprint. It's actually pretty neat. Green and blue 1/1. You can tap it and name a creature card. It doesn't have to be one in your deck. It could be anything if it's advantageous to you. You reveal the top 4 cards of your library and put all of them with the same name in your hand and put the rest in the graveyard. So if you know something's coming up, you can go ahead and grab it with this guy. Or if you're playing some kind of graveyard strategy, you can just name a card that you know you don't have and then get rid of all of those cards. Victimize and a Reflecting Pool. You may tap this land and add to your mana pool 1 mana of any type of land that you control that you could produce. So if you have a land that can technically produce any of the 5 colors, this Reflecting Pool can also add any of the 5 colors. Canal Dredger. This is a rare construct. Like I said, if we had a foil in this pack that happened to be a rare, and we would have gotten 3 rares, so that's pretty neat. It is a 4-drop 1/5, and you draft him face up. Each player passes the card last from each booster pack to the player who drafted a card named Canal Dredger. You may tap this guy to put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Squirrel token. I wanted to do a squirrel count for this, but I was denied the opportunity, which makes me sad. I think the squirrel tokens are actually pretty sweet. We have here a Silver Chase Fox, another Brainstorm, Johnny Sunstriker, Grenzo's Cutthroat, Brimstone Volley. They brought back Morbid in this as well. Liliana Spectre, Zavella's Enforcer, Unhallowed Pact, Assassinate, Stasis Cell, Marchesa's Smuggler, Intangible Virtue, Rito's Lantern. Costs 2 and is an artifact. You may pay 3, put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. And Marchesa. This is my new EDH General, for all of you that cared. It costs 1, a black, a blue, and a red. It has Dethrone and gives other creatures you control Dethrone. It is a 3/3, and whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it dies, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So This guy is actually pretty sweet if you play him in, if you do happen to draft her. I really like her. The fact that she is 3 colors, though, makes her really hard to play. Now, for EDH, if you happen to play, cards that have Undying or, cards that are unblockable that are really easy to, get in a couple points of damage with, or creatures that just enter the battlefield with +1/+1 counters and would otherwise be 0/0s, Marchesa has a lot of advantage to give to them. So I really like this card. I'm looking to get a foil one of her soon. And another Cogwork Librarian. Yeah, Marchesa I was really excited to see. And actually, this playmat I'd gotten was at the GP, and the week before that was the Pro Tour in Atlanta. And I actually saw, we had a, trying to remember her name. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Christine Sprankle, I want to say it was. She actually came and she was dressed up as Marchesa, Liliana, and Elspeth. So if y'all want to look that up, she's actually a really good cosplay artist. So we have Enclave Elite, a Johnny Sunstriker, Crook Claw Transmuter, Rapid Flames, Enraged Revolutionary, Infectious Horror, Charging Rhino, Twisted Abomination, Tyrant's Choice, Nature's Claim, Factor Fiction, Treasonous Ogre, Smallpox, Magister of Worth. Cost 4, a white and a black, has flying and Will of the Council. When he enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player votes for Grace or Condemnation. If Grace gets more votes, each player returns each creature card from his or her graveyard to the battlefield. If Condemnation gets more votes, or tied for the most votes, destroy all creatures other than Magister of Worth. So, pretty sweet 4/4 flying bomb that can either wrath the board or bring all the creatures back from everyone's graveyard for a giant brawl. Not bad, and I do apologize for maybe even missaying this word. Another Lurking Automaton. And a Squirrel Token. That makes 3. I'm going to make a squirrel counter of my own. As they say, F the police. We have a Crook Claw Transmuter, Silver Chase Fox, Dream Fracture, Enraged Revolutionary, Pitchburn Devils, Grudge Keeper, Elvish Aberration, Infectious Horror, Provoke, Tyrant's Choice, Woodvine Elemental, Council Guardian, Reckless Spite, Grenzo. This is the legendary dude I was telling you about earlier. He cost X, a red and a black. He's a legendary creature, Goblin Rogue. He is a 2/2, and he enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on him. And for 2, you put the bottom card of your library, not the top, the bottom card of your library, into your graveyard. If it is a creature card with a power less than or equal to Grenzo's power, put it onto the battlefield instead. This card's pretty brutal sometimes. Now, granted, it's really hard to manipulate the bottom cards of your library unless you're constantly scrying and you know what's going down there. But even if you're shuffling, it's hard to keep track of. I really like this guy as a general, but I'm going to be really surprised to see a lot of people playing with him, and maybe if you go to a GP and you play in, those, win-a-boxes or whatever they have. I'd be surprised to see this guy do well because in competitive play, there's a lot of combo decks, but this guy, I would be very impressed to see him do very well. Backup plan, Rare Conspiracy. This guy starts face up in the command zone, and you draw an additional hand of 7 cards as the game begins, so you have 2 hands of 7. Before taking mulligans, shuffle all but one of your hands into your library. Now, the cool thing about this card and cards like this is they're cumulative. So if you have 2 backup plans, instead of drawing just 2 hands, you draw 3 hands. And you choose which one of them you want to keep, and then you shuffle the rest back. So it's actually a pretty sweet card. Now the problem with this is sometimes you get those hands, it's like, all right, here's 7 cards, they're all really good, but I don't have any lands. Well, this hand has okay cards, and it has some lands. So you can go ahead and shuffle the cards that are really good back into your deck, and it's kind of a bummer, but, with something like this, instead of taking a mulligan, you get the, hand that you would like to keep, because, mulligan's not very fun, especially in multiplayer. You can go down really fast in multiplayer if you mulligan a lot. Alright, now I've been slow rolling these packs a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and speed it up by going to the uncommons, and then we're going to go to the rare. I'm going to skip over the commons for the most part. We have an Extract from Darkness, Tangible Virtue, Flaring Flamekin, and a Drakestown Forgotten. Costs 4 and a black, and it is a 0/0. Card that will work great with Marchesa, because it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of creature cards in all graveyards. You pay 2 and a black, you remove a 1/1 counter from it, and target creature gets -1/-1 until the end of the turn. It's a pretty sweet rare. And another Cogwork Spy. Spirit token. Wind Dancer, Palaka Worm, Spectral Searchlight, Wolfbriar Elemental. He is a multi-kicker of 1 green. He costs 2 and double green. He is a reprint, and he's a 4/4 as well. When he enters the battlefield, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield for each time he was kicked. A foil Sulfuric Vortex, and I'm really excited because this is a foil rare, so hopefully behind this we get a foil Conspiracy, or a foil, or I'm sorry, not a foil, but a rare Conspiracy, or a rare construct for the triple rare. Our hopes. Museo's Preparations. We had this one earlier before. As a hidden agenda, each creature you control with the chosen name enters the battlefield with an additional 1 counter on it. You could have been something cool. Darn it. So I want to open 3 rares in one pack in this, so that way you guys can see the power of Conspiracy and the value. Granted, Conspiracies are unusable in any other format, and the Cogwork Librarian, for instance, isn't really good in constructed play. So, Reckless Scholar. No, like I said, I'm going to just go to the back. Favorable Winds, Boulder Weir Intimidator, Mork Rut Banshee, Scourge of the Throne. Costs 4, double red, and is a dragon that is a 5/5 flyer. He has the ability Dethrone, and when he attacks for the first time each turn, if it's attacking the player with the most life or tied for the most life, untap all attacking creatures, and after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Pretty sweet card. Sentinel Dispatch. Saw that one earlier. There's a Conspiracy that at the start of every one of your upkeeps, you put a 1/1 defender into play. Alright, Unquestioned Authority, Victimize, Quicksand, Stifle. Hey, here we go. This is a reprint of a sweet card, and it is using the promo art. Costs 1 blue and is an instant that counters target activated or triggered ability. To kind of give you an example, mana abilities cannot be targeted, so you wouldn't be able to target this guy's ability unless it was 4 cycling that you were going to go ahead and counter, because you could totally stifle that ability. Or even Quicksand. You can totally stifle Quicksand's ability to sacrifice it and make target attacking creature without flying get -2/-1. They would lose the Quicksand, and they would lose the ability, because your stifle is just that amazing. And then we have Unexpected Potential, which is a hidden agenda. It states, you may spend mana as though it were any mana of any color to cast spells with the chosen name. So it's pretty sweet if you have like Marchesa, for instance. It makes it very easy to cast her, because you can just play straight swamps or straight plains, and you'd be able to cast her using this Conspiracy. So not bad. And who knows? Maybe Wizards of the Coast said that you couldn't play them in any other format. But I'm sure there's going to be some tabletop players out there that wouldn't mind playing it, in their EDH games. Bearing some rules, of course, because you can't. One guy's going to play all the rares or whatever and have a strict advantage on the guys that just don't have enough. We have a Doomed Traveler. Oh, to the back, to the back, to the back. Don't want to waste y'all's time. We have a Sky Spirit, Soul Catcher, Mirrodin's Core, Heartless yeah, that guy. So his last name is kind of hard to pronounce, but his ability states you tap him and he deals damage to each player equal to half that player's life total rounded down. If you have some way of gaining just 1 point of life, you can totally just use this guy to murder everybody. He costs 3 double red and is a 4/3. I'm very sorry I'm unable to pronounce his name, but that is a rather hard name to pronounce. And we also have a Lurking Automaton with a demon token. Love Magic. Sometimes they just give you names that you just can't pronounce. And it's not because I don't want to try to pronounce it, it's just I don't want to sound stupid when I try to pronounce it. So, a Treasonous Ogre, Mortify, Skeletal Scrying, and another Magister of Worth. Shoreline Ranger, sorry, and another Unexpected Potential. As you can see, there's not many conspiracies. You'll more than likely in a box get a lot of reprints, or I'm sorry, a lot of copies of the same conspiracy. But you know, that's just the chance that you run. But the reason they did that is that way everybody in a draft, you know, has a very good potential, or an unexpected potential rather, to get exactly what they need. Where's our Dak Faden? We should have seen one of those guys by now. Mike Shavasky, or whatever his name is. Marchese's Infiltrator, Deathforge Shaman, Warmonger's Chariot, Ill-Gotten Gains again. Not a bad card. Like I said, you know, it's each player discards his or her hand, then returns up to 3 cards from his or her graveyard to his or her hand. So definitely not bad. Agent of Acquisition. He is drafted face up and is a 2/1 for 2. Instead of drafting a card from a booster pack, you may draft each card in that booster pack one at a time. If you do, turn Agent of Acquisition face down, and you can't draft cards for the rest of the draft round. You may look at booster packs passed to you, though. Wolf Token. Alright. Come on, triple rare. I know it's almost wishful thinking, but man, it's so sweet when it happens. Good old Swords Plowshare. Sweet removal spell. Costs 1 white. It is an instant that exiles target creature, and its controller gains life equal to its power. Favorable winds. Paleka Worm. Silent Arbiter. Now, this guy costs 4, and it is a 1/5. That makes it so no more than one creature can attack each combat, and no more than one creature can block each combat. So it's strict one-on-one violence. And another Cogwork Spy. One thing I've been hoping when I start cracking Conspiracy, and I bought a box myself, is I want to crack some foil swords, some foil brainstorms. So foil brainstorm for a Mercadian Mask is like $200. So I can only imagine what it'd be from this. It's probably not going to be that expensive, but I wouldn't mind it being, you know, $20. Fires of Yavimaya, Wakestone Gargoyle, Morkrat Banshee, Dimir Doppelganger. I really like this guy. Multiple reasons. Main reason being EDH. In drafting, he's definitely not bad either because there's going to be, you know, 3 other opponents you'll have. And I mean, you could even target creatures from your own graveyard. This guy costs 1 a blue and a black. And for 1 a blue and a black, you get exile target creature card from a graveyard, and Dimir Doppelganger becomes a copy of that card and then gains this ability. So you can constantly make him a bigger dude, a smaller dude, a more, you know, you can make him a game changer. The utility this creature brings is insane. And he is a 0/2, and I really like its flavor text. Fear not, your life will not go unlived. And then an immediate action. Let's go ahead and set these over here. And we have just a few packs left. So I'm not going to take up too much of y'all's time, but hopefully you all will appreciate this crack opening, and you guys will be able to see the power of these packs, especially for when you go into a draft, because drafting this is going to be pretty fun. Academy Elite. This guy's pretty sweet. I actually really like this guy. 3 and a blue. Enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it, where X is the number of instant sorceries in the graveyard, in all graveyards rather, and he's a 0/0, so that's going to be his power and toughness for when he enters. For 2 and a blue, you may remove a 1/1 counter from Academy Elite, draw a card, and then discard a card. Pretty sweet. Advantageous Proclamation, we saw this before. Like I said, multiple of these, you know, it is cumulative, so you can have a 35-card deck, a 30-card deck. Going any lower than that, though, is kind of dangerous, because 4-player games can go on for some time. Oh man, get my draft on tonight of this. I'm actually going to be judging it too, so it's going to be quite fun. Heckling Fiends, Searchlight, Savala's Charge, and another Reflecting Pool. Really like Reflecting Pool. It's been one of my favorite lands for a while now, and the only reason I say that is because I'm mainly a main player of EDH, and I play a lot of 5-color decks, so this is always something to me. Foil Council Guardian. Fortunately, he is not a rare. and then a Sentinel Dispatch. Alrighty, let's see here. They printed the vows for this because it's multiplayer format. So we got Vow of Duty, Woodvine Elemental, Vampire Hexmage, Dax Duplicate. Couldn't have just been Dak though. Costs 2, a blue and a red. It is a 0/0. It's effectively just a clone that has haste and dethrone. So it's pretty good. Secrets of Paradise, and a construct token. Okie dokie. Let's see here. We have a Breakthrough, Explorer Scope, Skeletal Scrying, and another Route. Whisper Gear Sneak is the construct that we're getting in this pack, and another Squirrel token, which makes 4. Alright. Come on. This is our... We have, with this, 3 packs left after this one, so... Let's see. We got a Barbed Shocker, a Wood Sage, Relic Crush, Council's Judgment. Haven't seen this one yet. Cost 1 and double white is a sorcery with Will of the Council. Starting with you, each player votes for a non-land permanent you do not control. Exile each permanent with the most votes or tied for the most votes. So this is actually pretty funny. Seeing as there's 4 different people, playing, you can just choose 4 different permanents. Like, there's the likelihood that that happens. And if, you have 4 different permanents chosen, they're all tied for the most votes, so they all get exiled. So this sometimes can be a pretty big wombo, but every now and then you're going to get that one player that's just going to be like, nah, I'm just going to say what he says. So it can ruin the fun a little bit. Foil Guardian Zendikon, another Cogwork Librarian. Man, guys, I am super sorry. I was expecting to see some gold here with, that triple rare pack, but it doesn't look like we might see one, so hopefully I'm wrong, but don't want to get your hopes up any longer. But it is totally possible. One of you guys might be able to draft one, but the problem with drafting one is, you're not going to be able to get all 3 of them. But if one gets past to you and your first draft was a Cogwork Librarian, then you can get both of the other ones, so not bad. We have a Wind Dancer, Uncontrollable Anger, Fire Shrieker, Videlkin Orrery. Costs 4 as an artifact that makes it so you may cast non-land cards as though they had flash. And an immediate action. Reckless Scholar. Pillarfield. Oh, what am I doing? It's not the beginning of the video. You guys don't care. Mortify. Glimmerpoint Stag. Predator's Howl. Realm Seekers. This guy's pretty sweet. For 4 and double green. There's actually one of these guys for every color. So this is the green one. He enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the total number of cards in all players' hands. So if you play this guy really fast, he's super huge. For 2 and a green, you may remove a 1/1 counter from him, and you should search your library for a land and put it into your hand. It is a land card, so it could be any land. It doesn't have to be a basic. And then you shuffle your library. Double Stroke. Haven't seen this hidden agenda yet. This is a conspiracy that whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with the chosen name, you may copy it, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Pretty sweet. Definitely not a bad card. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last pack of Conspiracy. I am very sorry if we do not happen to open a triple rare or a Dak Faden. I know you all were really excited to see one, but let's hope and pray that we happen to get one. And I'm going to slow roll this pack, because why not? We have a Courier Hawk, an Enclave Elite, Pillarfield Ox, Rapid Flames, Trumpet Blast, Zombie Goliath, Elvish Aberration, Stronghold Discipline, Hunger of the Howl Pack, Guardian Zendikon, Glimmerpoint Stag, Error's Servant, Plagued Rulsaka, and for those of you that didn't just fast forward to the rare, Muzio. Ooh. We have a mythic legendary creature, ladies and gentlemen. Cost 1 and double blue. He's a 1/3. You may pay 3 a blue, and you can tap him to activate him. To look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the highest converted mana cost among artifacts you control. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it onto the battlefield immediately. You may put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your library in any order that you had revealed. Definitely not a bad guy, but you're going to need a lot of artifacts. And the artifact keeper of the slot for EDH, definitely going to be Memnarch. This guy can be placed in the Memnarch deck, though. It's definitely not a bad card. And we have a Sentinel Dispatch as our foil conspiracy. Now, the thing is, like I said before, even though this is a foil conspiracy, there's not going to be another conspiracy behind this because it takes up the slot. Zombie token. So I am very sorry, guys, that we did not see any cool Planeswalker. But I'm going to go ahead and lay out all the rares that we got, go over them one more time for all of you out there, so that we can go ahead and take a look at what we got blessed with. So, I'm going to take all these, move them over here. And I'm going to take all the conspiracies and all the constructs, and I'm going to set them off to the side, so that way we can go ahead and look at the cards that are reusable in other formats. As you'll see, it's mostly 1-for-1, but that's because we're supposed to get one of these guys in every pack. Man, I'm so happy we got that Sulfuric Vortex foil. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to want that card. Because while Red Deck wins in Legacy, can sometimes flake on you. It's definitely not a bad deck at all. So, the benefits of having one of those is that you can kind of make it so if you're playing against somebody playing like a Kitchen Finks deck where they're just gaining tons of life, you just kind of don't care. Man, this is a huge stack. Oh, it's definitely going to be over here. Never going to want to play that in a constructed format. Alright, we'll go ahead and go over all of our constructed rares first, then we'll go over all of the ones that you want to draft. So let's see. We have a Terastodon, a Misdirection, Ignition Team, Sulfuric Vortex, Ill-Gotten Gains #1, Custody Soulbinders, Bassandra, Reflecting Pool, Marchesa, Magister of Worth, Grenzo, Drakestown Forgotten, Wolfbriar Elemental, Foil Sulfur Vortex, I'm going to place that down here with the other cards that we got multiples of, Scourge of the Throne, Stifle, Heartless Dude, Magister of Worth, which we got multiples of, so I'm going to go ahead and set them down here so you guys can see exactly what the likelihood of, maybe getting duplicates are. Another Ill-Gotten Gains, Magus of the Mirror, Rhea Dawnbringer, Altar of Dementia, Silent Arbiter, Dimir Doppelganger, Academy Elite, Root, which we did happen to get 2 of, Spiritmonger, Reign of the Pit, Grenzo's Rebuttal, Reflecting Pool, Dax Duplicate, another Root, Council's Judgment, Deathrender, Videlkin Orrery, Realm Seeker, and a Muzio. I could have... Oh, here we go. So these are the cards that we got a reprint of, and these are the cards that we all got a singulars of. Like I said, there's a lot of variance in these, but there's a likelihood that you can get 3 rares in a pack. So sometimes you'll get, double Sulfuric Vortex in your box. Sometimes you get double Reflecting Pool. All of these you have a chance of getting doubles of. There's not as, this card isn't more rare than this card kind of thing going on. So, of course, these cards aren't as rare as this card, but this card's also a mythic rare, so keep that in mind. So we'll go ahead and scoop all these up, and we will move on to our conspiracy one-ofs, or rather one-of-a-kinds. And like I said, I apologize. I am a little bit under the weather. You probably heard me stutter at least once or twice. So we have Double Clockwork Librarian, Advantageous Proclamation, Immediate Action, Sentinel Dispatch, Poliano, Irritative Analysis, another Immediate Action, Brago's Favor, Whisper Gear Sneak, Immediate Action, Secrets of Paradise, Cogwork Spy, Muzio's Preparation, another Brago's Favor, Lurking Automaton, Unexpected Potential, Agent of Acquisition, Cogwork Spy, Immediate Action, Advantageous Proclamation, Sentinel Dispatch, another Secret of Paradise, another Whisper Gear Sneak, another Immediate Action, Double Stroke, a Foil Sentinel Dispatch, another Lurking Automaton, Canal Dredger, a Cogwork Librarian, a Lurking Automaton, Backup Plan, Cogwork Spy, Muzio's Preparation, Sentinel Dispatch, Unexpected Potential. Now, out of all the cards that I would say is the most rare in this pack, it's definitely going to have to be Poliano of the High City. Because not only do you have to fight with all of these cards for the Conspiracy slot, it is the land that you want to draft. And if you happen to get a foil one, kudos, because that is the most rare card in the pack, in my opinion. I want to say actually statistically that's true as well, because you have a lot of conspiracies and a lot of constructs to fight for that one slot, and it being the land, and on top of that being the foil, very rare. So kudos if you do happen to crack one. And the likelihood of somebody wanting to trade for it for their constructed deck, though, is pretty slim. So hopefully you get one, and hopefully you can be proud of it. You know, a lot of people can't say that they've done that. So just like the God Packs from Journey into Nyx, it's definitely, it's probably not as rare, but it's definitely rare. So, you know, good luck for you guys. You know, hopefully you guys crack some cool stuff in your Conspiracy packs. Conspiracy is a 15-card booster pack, and hopefully we could see some of you in our stores getting ready to crack open these booster packs. We'll have an event on Saturday, and we'll also be drafting this on Friday. Hopefully every Friday, because I want to be drafting this set a lot. Well, that's all from us here at Gathering Magic. This is Ricardo Conde, and thank you so much for cracking these packs with me.